settle in and let me tell you about a boy named Conrad. 10 years old, slight as a winter branch, with the kind of pale, serious face that doctors look at and shake their heads over. The doctors had given him perhaps 5 years, you see. 5 years, they said, if he was careful, if he rested, if he was kept from excitement and cold drafts, and the 1,000 small joys that make a child feel alive. And watching over those 5 years, like a warden over a very small prison, was his guardian, Mrs. DeRopp. Say the name slowly, and you'll hear something in it. Something tight, something clipped. She was one of those women who mistake cruelty for virtue, who believe that denying a child pleasure is somehow doing him good. Every little happiness Conrad had managed to scrape together, she found, and she thwarted it. Not always with anger, sometimes with that worst thing, a calm, reasonable explanation for why it couldn't be allowed. The house was large and gray and full of her, but there was a garden, and at the bottom of that garden, half hidden by overgrown bushes and the forgiving mercy of neglect, there was a shed, old, wooden, smelling of earth and rust and something wilder underneath. And that shed, that dark, secret, beautiful shed, was Conradin's entire kingdom. It was the one place in the world that was entirely, completely, gloriously his. Inside that shed, Conradin kept 2 creatures. One was a ragged, one-eyed hen who occupied her corner with the quiet dignity of someone making the best of things. Conradin was fond of her in the easy, undemanding way children are fond of animals that ask nothing of them. But the other creature, the other creature was something else entirely. A large polecat ferret, given to him by a friendly butcher's boy, and kept hidden from Mrs. DeRopp, with a devotion bordering on the sacred. Because that is exactly what it became for Conradin. Sacred. He named it Sredni Vashtar. Roll that name around in your mouth for a moment. Sredni Vashtar. And you'll understand why a lonely, imaginative boy might give it to something wild and sharp-toothed and utterly untamable. Conradin built a religion around that ferret. Not a gentle religion, mind you. Not a religion of comfort and Sunday morning light. This was an older kind of worship, the kind that asks for dark things and means it. He brought the ferret offerings, nutmeg and red flowers, placed with ceremony and whispered words. He kept a little altar in the hutch with a piece of white flannel for a cloth. And on the days when Mrs. DeRopp had been particularly cold, particularly crushing, Conradin would go down to the shed and kneel before that long, sinuous, amber-eyed creature, and he would pray. He would ask Sredni Vashtar for the one thing he hardly dared name, even to himself. Now, wicked guardians have a talent for finding things out. It's almost as if the thing you love most sends out a scent that draws them straight to it. Mrs. DeRopp began to notice Conradin's trips to the shed. Too frequent, too purposeful, too lit up with something she couldn't account for. She nosed around the way she always did, and one afternoon she found the hen. She sold it the following week, matter-of-factly, without a word of apology or warning. Just gone. Conradin said nothing. He had learned by then that words were weapons she was better at wielding than he was. But in the shed that evening, he prayed to Sredni Vashtar with a new intensity. A longer prayer than usual, more deliberate. He asked for that thing, that one specific, unspoken thing. And then came the day, a gray afternoon, quiet and still, when Mrs. DeRopp went back to the shed. she had found out about the ferret. Of course she had. She had that particular expression she wore when she was about to take something away. Patient, almost kind, terribly final. She took the key from where Conradin had hidden it, because nothing he hid ever stayed hidden from her for long. Conradin watched from the dining room window. He watched her walk down the garden path, her back straight and certain, her hand on the shed door. And he began, very quietly, to sing a little hymn. To Sredni Vashtar, she went in. The door closed behind her. Conradin waited. The minutes moved like thick honey. Slow, slow, slow. He kept his eyes on that door. The garden was very still. The light was beginning to go golden at the edges, the way it does in late afternoon, soft and indifferent to the things of human beings. A maid passed through the room behind him, chattering about something he didn't hear. He didn't turn. His eyes stayed fixed on that door. Stayed fixed and stayed fixed. And the door did not open. He thought about what he would do if she came out with the ferret in a sack, already gone. He thought about the empty hutch and the white flannel cloth and the nutmeg lying unanswered on the altar floor. He thought about 5 years, 5 careful, thwarted, diminished years, and the thought made something in his chest go very quiet and very still, the way the air goes still before a storm. But the door did not open. A small bird landed on the path, pecked twice at the ground, flew away. The golden light deepened. Somewhere inside the house, a clock ticked. And then, slowly, with tremendous unhurried grace, the door swung open, and out came a long, low, sinuous shape, moving through the long grass with the particular fluid ease of something that has done exactly what it set out to do. And Conradin saw, even from that distance, the dark staining on the white throat and the sharp, bright fur. He turned from the window. He walked to the kitchen. He found the bread, and he found the toasting fork, and he began to make himself a piece of toast. He made it with great care. He held it close to the fire and turned it slowly, watching it darken to just the right shade of gold. The kitchen was warm. The fire crackled. Outside he could hear, very distantly, the sounds beginning. A raised voice, then another, then something that might have been a scream, quickly muffled, the kind of sound a house makes when it has found something terrible and doesn't quite know what to do with itself yet. Conradin buttered his toast. There's something almost unbearably perfect about that, isn't there? That small, ordinary, domestic act. The butter melting slow into the warm bread, the smell of it, the quiet weight of the knife. While behind him, the household began to fracture and scatter like frightened birds. Maids running, voices sharp with horror. The whole gray edifice of Mrs. de Rob's world coming suddenly, irrevocably undone. He ate his toast by the fire. He was very calm. He was, perhaps, for the first time in his short and careful life, completely, perfectly calm. Somewhere at the bottom of the garden, in the old shed with its smell of earth and rust and wildness, Sredni Vashtar moved through the long grass and was gone. And the boy ate his toast, and the fire burned warm. And outside, the evening came on, soft and indifferent, as evenings always do.